Well, Ezra Miller and their flumpy run are back as The Flash. And if you had told me a year ago that this movie would be better than most of MCU Phase 4, I'd have called you a liar. But here we are. Because The Flash is good. Not amazing, but good. I've seen some other reviews absolutely dumping on it, and I don't know why. It addresses most of the problems fans have had with the DCEU to this point. It's got creative uses of the Flash's powers, it's character-focused, serious moments are given weight without being undercut by lame jokes. The jokes they do have mostly land, it has fan service rather than fan baiting, and even though the special effects look like dog crap, which in spite of what the director claims was definitely not on purpose, it follows its own rules and it has great action set pieces. Yeah, it's got massive flaws, like ignoring events of past films, but that didn't really bother me since the Snyderverse is inconsistent as crap anyway. So what's with the hate? Well, anyway, The Flash, for those of you who don't know, is a loose reimagining of 2013's animated film The Flashpoint Paradox, which was itself a reimagining of the DC Comics Flashpoint series. Still with me? Good. The basic story is that Barry Allen's dad was framed for his mother's murder, and Barry thinks if he goes back in time to save his mom, everything will be fine. But the boy done screwed up. You see, time is a fickle mistress, and she doesn't like being played, so everything goes horribly wrong. His mom's alive and his dad's free, but there's no Superman, no Justice League, Batman is a recluse, and the world is in chaos. So Barry has to decide, save the ones he loves, or save the world from its own darkness? It's an interesting dilemma, and one that the animated film dealt with pretty well, and this new adaptation definitely fills those big boots. To begin with, Ezra Miller is pitch perfect in his dual roles as young and older Barry Allen. I never thought much of them as an actor before, and found them irritating in previous outings as the Flash. But here they really shine. It's too bad, for a lot of reasons, that they're such a disaster of a human being, because I could easily see myself enjoying more of them in the role. But seeing that the DCEU is all but dead and Miller is definitely rightfully cancelled in Hollywood, that's probably not gonna happen. Then again, if enough money's on the table, Hollywood will try and uncancel anyone, right, Mel? It was fun watching Miller play an older, more mature version of the Flash, who, after meeting his younger self, realizes how the world really sees him and grows to be more of a man than a yappy kid. We all have an image of ourselves, and we're rarely accurate, because objectivity is nearly impossible when looking out from the inside. So when Barry has to guide his younger self and be the grown-up for a change, he has a self-realization that helps him grow as a person. And eventually he comes to realize that some things are more important than his personal wants or needs. Hey, imagine that! A comic book character with an arc in 2023!
No way!
Because that essential element of good storytelling has been practically ignored by so many writers it nearly shocked me out of my seat when it happened. Miller as Barry is irritating as his younger self, yeah, but the interplay between the two is so good it was a justification and an apology for the earlier iteration. But let's be honest, the thing that drew everyone to this movie, myself included, was Michael Keaton returning as Batman. Everywhere I looked, it was the only thing anyone was talking about, and I worried it would be another bait and switch where they draw you in with a character only to dispense or undermine them in 5 minutes. But this movie appears to have been penned by actual writers and not ADHD adult children, because not only is Keaton back as Bruce Wayne, he's pivotal to the film. They went so much further than Remember Barry's. Keaton as Wayne is truly a character in the film, and the fact that there are fan service winks is just icing on the cake, even if some of that icing was poorly laid. They did right by my boy, and I couldn't be happier. And yes, my inner child squeaked when I saw the 1989 Batmobile. The one thing that had fans worried is the replacement of Superman with Supergirl. There is a tendency to gender or race swap characters in a cynical attempt to shield a film from criticism, so they fanbait and drum up manufactured controversy. I was really surprised to find that wasn't the case here, though. Sasha Calle may not be as charismatic as Henry Cavill, but her performance stands up well when considering her version's origin story. And she may look a little wooden or uncomfortable in her hero poses, but for the most part, she more than justified her inclusion in the film. She's better at fighting Zod than Superman, because of course she is, but she struggles and fails quite often, preventing her from becoming another disastrous overpowered Mary Sue like Captain Marvel, or crapping on Superman's legacy, which is more than I can say for how Marvel currently treats its legacy characters.
So I'm an expert at controlling my anger because I do it infinitely more than you.
Look at me in the windows to my soul. Shut the f*** up. shot all the way the up until you reach the top of Shut Mountain where there are no more ups to shut.
In spite of the mostly bad effects, I never once doubted there were two Ezra Millers on screen. That can be a pretty hard trick to carry off. And I don't know how they did it here, but filmmakers should learn from the technique, because to me it was nearly flawless. Meanwhile, there are some amazing Easter eggs for longtime comics fans and those who follow the film trade. Alternate reality versions of The Flash, Batman, and Superman, even those that were never brought to fruition, are all briefly addressed, just begging to be analyzed by 5-hour YouTube vids, even if the effects did look like crap. And even though I 1000% predicted the final surprise cameo at the end, it had some folks in my theater cheering. But all the Easter eggs and explosions in the world can't save a film if it doesn't have a solid heart, right? And this is where the movie really works. Barry's realization that he can't have it all is heartbreaking and presented with respect and maturity. It's a selfish child giving up what he wants to become an adult. Harsh lessons are learned and all the power in the universe can't take them back, even if the movie undercuts that a bit in the final scenes. More importantly, while watching this movie, a miracle occurred. Somewhere in the deep dark recesses of my cynical heart, a light was found, and I found myself, in spite of all the problems, tearing up a little and smiling. Yes, it's got flaws, pretty big ones, but it's exactly what we were hoping to get for the entirety of the DCEU to date, and for that, I'm pretty grateful. But what did you think of The Flash? Let me know below, and until next time, happy viewing!